Well, welcome back to another episode of A Founder's Journey. It's brought to you again as part of the Tech Founder Circle, and I'm so excited about my next guest. He is the CEO and co-founder of Akiva, and it's Alexander Landa. Hey, Alexander, so grateful to have you with me today, and thanks for being part of the show.
Hey, Michael, thank you so much for giving me an opportunity, and thank you for having me on the show.
Well, first of all, I love your backdrop there. That's really cool. This is so tell me. I'm sure I'll have to talk a little more about that in a second here, but this kind of go back in the beginning. What made you want to be a founder or an entrepreneur to begin with?
Excellent question. So Akiva is actually name of my older son. When my son Akiva was 2 years old, 2.5, he was diagnosed with a severe autism.
Okay.
He's, the two specialists that diagnosed him separately said that he basically will be unable to speak, so he will be nonverbal, that he will never have friends, he will always have to have some people taking care of him 100% of the time, and so on and so forth, right? So naturally, I just given the fact of, I guess, my upbringing, didn't take it at the face value, and I said that I'm going to go ahead and find a way for my son Akiva to have an opportunity at life, to have all the, things that included in this life, right? That we cherish and some of us take it for granted, right? And so my wife and I at the time, we went on a long but very interesting journey of finding alternative ways, alternative methodologies to help our son Akiva to have a chance in the future to raise him with a mindset of being individualistic, being focused on having opportunity at life, right? Having gainful employment when he grows up, and hopefully, building his own family and having friends and all these great things that the life, is most of us in this life are blessed for, right? And blessed with. So, it was great for us that we found an amazing individual who does do miracles with children on autistic spectrum disorder. This particular individual really helped and created an individualistic program for Akiva, right, which was highly resource intensive, right? Not just from a pure financial perspective, but just from the time, from emotion, from the passion that you have to put in, and the belief that you have to put that this program is actually going to work, because at the time there were no predictions, no tools that will give you as a parent any sort of comfort in a sense that this program is going to net some results, right? So as a technology executive who's built quite a few multi national programs, the platforms that have been implemented and have been tested the span of time of 20 years, I couldn't help but think how many other parents, how many other grandparents and family members and actual kids that didn't have that chance that my son had, right? That didn't have an opportunity, just because 90% of the world do not have the same type of specialists, the same type of care that we have in North America, which we're very blessed for, right? And so in my mind, what I wanted to do is I wanted to create, take the methodology that worked, right? And then democratize it so that any person in the world with certain means could connect to it, learn from it, and get the same care and feeding, right, if you will, that Akiva got from this highly privileged program that we put him in. Okay. And that's really how I came up with this idea of building a metaverse, which is the virtual reality based experience, like a game where you could self-explore, you could learn and you could eventually thrive because you're going to take this learning and you're going to apply it in a real physical life.
Can stop for a second. So basically, before this, had you ever thought, hey, I would like to start my own business, or was this really just was an outshoot of this experience with your son? I mean, did you as a kid you think, hey, I'd like to be an entrepreneur, or was it really 100% from this experience with him?
That's correct. This is the most passionate thing that I have done in my entire life.
Okay.
And as I tell to my co-founders and my team, if tomorrow God is going to call me to do something else in a different world, I feel blessed that I had an opportunity to do this from a passion perspective, from not just being an entrepreneur for, creating company for profit, which is very important, but doing something incredibly passionate that will positively impact millions and potentially billions of lives in the world.
Well, I mean, obviously, autism has exploded. I mean, I don't know how many cases there are, but there's lots of them, and we've had a massive increase over the years. And so, I can certainly see how this has been it will be such a huge benefit for a lot of families in the future and now. So I mean, as you got into this, I'm sure it wasn't just like some easy, hey, smooth sailing. Tell me, what were some of the setbacks that happened early on?
Right. So, what we've done is, again, I was fortunate to get together with my co-founders. Every single co-founder and every single person that's connected to our project as a angel investor, right, has a child with special needs, has somebody who's neurodivergent, which is not just autism. Autism is a very important portion of neurodiversity, right? But there are other sort of special abilities, as we call them, which could be Tourette's, which could be ADHD, dyslexia, and a few others, right? And so, when you look at the number of cases, so CDC reported the latest numbers that there are 1 in 44 children as of 2018, was diagnosed with autism, compared to 1 in 150 in the year 2000. So in 18 years, we went in the significant growth of a population just in autism. But if you look at the special needs program, that neurodivergent community that we're talking about approximately 16% of the population of Earth, right? So the significance of this platform that we're building for the global community with multiple languages, with multiple worlds and experiences is really significant. We started several months before COVID hit, right? So for us, it was an amazing experience of resilience and focus on a developmental process. And how do you, conduct business with the team around, members around the world who are building different pieces of the metaverse and virtual reality and artificial intelligence in mobile device, right? Because these are all components of our platform. But also, how do you enable, and how do you build a business development, customer success team that also have to be, most of them, working from home during COVID and so on. So for us, the one of the biggest challenges was when COVID hit, because we couldn't easily go and test, our Akiva metaverse, our Akiva ecosystem with the Oculus Quest device out in the open. We had to create special events for our physical community. We had to, go and be approved for all the proper, sanitation, and make sure that the community members are comfortable to put, their kids into being better testers, right? So this was a very interesting challenge.
Yeah, I bet. So what did you, I mean, you obviously must work through that process, and were there, I mean, as far as like, I mean, what was the, was there some pitfalls that outside of that you had to deal with? I mean, would you ever have, did you have some programming issues? Did you ever have anything else in the process too? That just, I mean, the normal thing, what else were some major setbacks for you?
Yeah, so we had to adjust because we had to do we had to additionally focus on development of our virtual reality was premise and was focused on the quality. It paid up a huge dividend later on, right?
Yeah.
But we originally had thought that we're going to create a baseline of the world and some of the learning methodology, right? And then as we sort of go into the market, right, we continue getting new releases and doing it that way. So more of an agile approach, right? But then we had to actually step back and rethink it because we couldn't do agile approach anymore. We had to build the entire product in order for it to actually work and make sense for parents and for children and for therapists and so on. So we can at least even demonstrate, we can send it to them so that they can try it on and get with us into a pilot.
Yeah. So the Million Dollar Project was a pretty big. It was pretty big. You're saying it had to be almost all. It had to be almost fully complete to actually be a real value.
Absolutely. So we had to quickly, if you think about it, if you ever drive a really fast car and then you're going 200 miles an hour, and while you're going 200 miles an hour, you have to change your tires. That's kind of how it was.
So what has been your big success so far in this whole process? I mean, what have you seen the biggest for you? Yeah.
It came through a realization just this Christmas, right? Because we were going into pilots with some very well-known and loved organizations that help children and their parents with the developmental issues, right? And we're actually today finalized the first order, but we're finalizing the press release. So I'm not going to name the organization. I will say that this organization has been around for 60 years, and it's one of the most amazing organizations that help a significant number of children and their families, right? And so the biggest success outside of everything else, and we had smaller successes that we're very proud about, right? Yeah. But the biggest success was the reconfirmation for this executive team to come to a meeting with us during Christmas time. It was one day before Christmas, right? I was really sick with COVID. I barely could, get to the meeting, but that was important because they specifically asked for it. And to my amazement and to amazement of all my team, they gave us a presentation of how we going to, add value to what they've been doing for over 60 years, which was completely amazing. And at the end of the meeting, the CEO of this incredible organization brought me an email and said that, Alexander, we are all in. So that was the moment for me where I'm like, all this hard work, all this passion that started it, all these crazy ideas that, I had in the beginning, and I had to make sure that I can actually implement them into reality, right? They got, we got to a point where we had this, incredible organization that's been around for over 60 years telling us that, look, you've arrived. This is the future. We believe in you. We believe in the partnership with you, and we're all in.
Wow, that's pretty powerful, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And so, obviously, because when did you start this? When did this first begin? Because it was around COVID time or whatever. What was the before that?
So we finalized agreements between,
No, the very beginning, like when you first started the concept
development. Well, the concept I've been the concept I actually started when my son Akiva was diagnosed. That was circa 2013, right?
13. So almost
However,
9 years or whatever ago.
that concept was in my head. However, the virtual reality wasn't as prevalent and as mainstream as it is right now.
Yeah.
Not until the point when I saw that Oculus came into a Kickstarter. I was one of the original backers, right?
Oh.
And so then when I saw that Oculus was acquired by Facebook for $2 billion, I knew that this is going to be big. I knew it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I still couldn't do it at the time because they didn't have the SDK. So the first SDK that I knew that we can reuse it, because what was important for us is to collect information, collect behavioral information. How does person interact with a certain object inside of the virtual reality? So we can reuse this information for analytics, for machine learning, for recommendation engine that will tell another dad like me that your son Akiva, based on the information that we're seeing right now, is going to talk when he's going to turn 5.5, and there's a statistical chance probability of 57%. If I could only have that back then, when my kid was going through it, I would be incredibly happy. It would take a lot of a lot of challenges off of my shoulders.
Anxiety and stress and fears, all those things.
Right. So that's that. And so up until end of 2019, what we've built wasn't even possible. Right. And so the moment that I knew it is possible, we got together with my co-founders and we put together a small round of friends and family to really build this ecosystem, build the platform. And it took us about 16 to 18 months to get to where we were before we started, doing the beta testing with our community, with our, partners, and our B2B channel, if you will. But again, it's a bit of an unusual business if you think about it, because we don't really treat it as a business, and the only reason that we decided that we need to be a for-profit company versus a nonprofit, right? Because it's more of a social project if you think about it, right? But the challenge is that unless you make it unless you make it actionable, unless you make people believe in you with their passion, with their focus, and with their wallet, right? We cannot build it as big as Roblox, for example, right? But if and not specifically if, but when we're gonna drive the adoption towards Akiva Metaverse, right? Irregardless of what the pricing is per month or what have you, right? That's when you're gonna have incredible things happen. That's when you have community members creating content and helping each other out and creating business opportunities for one another, and potentially having venture capitalists come to our platform and offering their help to set up opportunities for neurodivergent individuals who are wicked smart, right? Who unfortunately is the highest underpaid facet of our today's society, right? They're underpaid and underemployed and unemployed. The unemployment rate in neurodivergent community is over 60%, right? And that is with highly capable, brilliant minds who can do incredible things. It just at times they're not socially adopted, right? So this is what we're this is the void that we're feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, so I mean, if you were talking to somebody who, back when you were still had the dream in your mind, the vision, and they're at that stage, what would be some advice you'd give them?
I believe the biggest thing for me that I would suggest is, find your passion. Don't look at things, because there are a lot of conflicting things on Twitter, on the internet, everywhere. Some people go, oh, go with your passion, and then the other ones go, no, don't go with your passion, go with the money first and then find your passion. So my suggestion, this is not an advice is cheap, but my suggestion would be that the moment you find something that you truly believe in, it's not just about passion, it's about belief. It's almost like a religion. So you religiously believe in this thing that you're going to make it happen, right? And you put all your energy,
it's like a
physical,
spiritual
mental.
calling.
Exactly. Once you find this, right, figure out how you can talk to other individuals to figure out a venture. It could be for profit, it could be non-profit, but figure out the venture, right? And then as you're figuring out what this venture is going to be, what it's going to do, and specifically who it's going to serve, right? Then you will find your calling, you will find your passion, you will find the people, and the people together with you will give you this power to go and get it done.
I love it. So I always ask you at the end, if there was a book that's made a difference in your life, what is it, and what would you, and why was it so important for you? What would you recommend for others?
Well, there are many books, and I love to read. When I was a kid, I've read all of the science fiction books I can get my hands on, and I am so happy that a lot of these books that were science fiction at the time became a reality today. So from a science fiction book perspective, there's one book that I particularly love, and this book is by author Roger Zelazny, and the name of the book is Amber's Chronicles. It's the only book in science fiction, I think, that for some reason the movie hasn't been made, and I think if anybody ever convinces the family of Roger Zelazny to make a movie, that's going to be the incredible movie. It's going to be a hit. So I highly recommend this book. It's a book about a multiverse, if you will, right? And then in terms of entrepreneurship, so I was, again, I was lucky and blessed to have had an opportunity to work with Mark Andreessen and Ben Horowitz back in the time when they were entrepreneurs at their last startup called Opsware. Ben Horowitz wrote a great book, The Hard Thing About the Hard Things, and I would highly recommend to every entrepreneur to read it. And there will be some of my ex-coworkers that their names on this book and the project that I was heavily involved in as well.
The hard thing about the hard things, you said, huh? And what would be what's one of the take homes that you got from that book?
Well, it just there's a fascination with entrepreneurship, at the moment. I think there's more private bankers that want to become, technology entrepreneurs than ever, right? Which is typically a sign of the fact that, potentially we're oversaturated with entrepreneurs in the world, which I don't believe so, personally. I think that anyone can be entrepreneur, and the 21st century gives you so many great tools and many problems to still, to be solved, right? But the book really gives you an opportunity at the day in life of somebody who's at the head of the company, right? Somebody who was one of the co-founders, right? And Ben talks specifically about the challenges, about the tough things that most founders don't want to talk about, like potentially running out of cash and moving the company to public market where everybody suggested him not to do it, right? So things of that nature, your unconventional thinking, your exuberance, your passion, and how you deal with these challenges. So the reality of life.
Gotcha. Sounds good. Well, I tell you, this has been, and I tell you, so if someone wants to learn more about Akiva, about you, how would they do that?
Sure. Well, you could check us out at our website www.akiva.ai. We're on all the social media channels as well. I believe our Twitter handle is at Akiva VR for virtual reality. And these would be the best. Akiva VR on Twitter, Akiva VR on Instagram. You can personally write me an email if you're interested. And my email is pretty simple: alex@akiva.ai.
Okay, and I know you're also on LinkedIn as well. So
Yes,
and,
yes.
and of course, anybody comes to the Tech Founders Circle, you find there on our Discord channel or come to the events as well. So
Yeah,
thank
absolutely,
you so
absolutely.
much. Yeah, thanks for Alex, and so I think you're doing some great work, and look forward to see how this blossoms for you.
Sounds great, Michael. Thank you again for the amazing opportunity and for your time. Doing an interview with me. It's been pleasure. It's been privilege. It's been fun.